Hello everyone, my name is Sika Antonio of Sika Educates. I hope you guys are all doing well. We've all, been in relationships and dated people where we haven't set no boundaries, no rules. Everybody in the relationship just thinks that they can take you for granted and just do what they like and get away with it. But I'm older now and mature enough to realize that if you want to have a committed, long-lasting relationship, there is the need to set boundaries, and there has to be that one or two or three things that is going to be a deal breaker for you. What is your deal breaker? For me, I've got some. One of my deal breakers for any guy that wants to date me is to never in their lives dream of laying a finger on me. That is a deal breaker for me. I cannot tolerate any domestic violence of any form, be it physical, sexual, whatever. You never lay a hand on me. That is a deal breaker. You do it and I'm gone. Another deal breaker for me is to have a sorry, lazy ass who never wants to get out there, bust his ass, bring money home, and help pay the bills in the house. So if you're going to take me for a muck and a fool and sit around and expect me to go bust my ass to take the hell care of myself and you, that's a deal breaker too. And guys, I'm not talking about being with someone who, life has its ups and downs. So you're dating someone, you're married to someone, you're in a committed relationship with someone and they lose their jobs. And so for a period of time, you are having to shoulder the burden and responsibility of looking after the homestead. That is not what I'm saying. I am talking about someone who demonstrates clearly that they have no actionable plan. They have no intention of getting out there and busting their ass and making money to help you, the so-called partner that they claim to love, to be in that relationship and pay the bills. Relationships cost money. That's just the fact of life. Let's just be real and practical here. Relationships cost money, okay? The bed that you're going to be screwing on, it doesn't come free. I have never had anybody go to IKEA, Costco, dream beds or sleep dreams or sweet dreams, whatever these bed shops are called, and say, I just need a bed for free. Just look at how beautiful I am, and ever walk out of that place with a bed. It costs money. So if the bed that you're going to be, getting your groove on costs money, everything in that relationship costs money. The home costs money. Heating it costs money. Feeding in it costs money. Everything, down to the clothes that you wear, the teeth that you brush, costs money. So let's just be real here. People never want to talk about money because, it's not a very interesting, comfortable topic. But the fact of the matter is, relationships cost money. Plain and simple. Another deal breaker, and probably the biggest deal breaker for me, is a cheating man. A man who can't learn to zip it in his pants and goes around dipping it into any pussy that they see down the street. I cannot cope with it. It is an absolute deal breaker for me. I can't deal with it, so I'm gone. And a lot of these guys these days think that cheating only happens when they physically have sex face to face with somebody, forgetting that the Bible says, even when you perceive it in your mind, you've done it. If you lust after somebody, you have done it. So those of you out there having phone sex with women and thinking that in cheating, there's something seriously wrong with your brains. And if I catch you as the man that I'm dating and engaged in any of these things, we are done. The mistake that a lot of us make in relationships is that we never set the ground rules. You meet somebody, they propose to you, you have these butterfly feeling in your belly, and you forget everything about everything. Forgetting that if you're going to play Scrabble or any of these board games that we play at home, there are always rules. When you go out there to buy that nice fancy TV that you like, the blender, it always comes with a manual. With the manual comes warning. If you pour water into the motor and it doesn't dry up and you turn it on, it is going to burn. And the motor burns, the blender doesn't work no more. If you flip the telly the other way with the belly on where the head should be and vice versa, and you pour water in it and you turn it on, electricity moves through it. It will blow up. Plain and simple. And so if all these gadgets and things that we have in everyday life have manuals and rules and regulations and warnings and everything you can think of, how the hell can we think that, you know, our relationships of which you're giving your heart should not come with a manual and deal breakers and rules and regulations? Anything in this life that is worth having, or any relationship that is worth having, one must understand that there are always rules of engagement with anything good. Anything that has value always comes with terms and conditions. Sign any contract, the terms and conditions. You know, from work to severance to your salary to holidays to everything. Terms and conditions. So if we have terms and conditions with everything in this life, I cannot for the life of me understand how we human beings, both men and women, would get into relationships without setting the ground rules from the get-go. This is how a lot of things go amiss, a lot of things go wrong, and we don't understand. What is your deal breaker? What are the 1, 2, 3, 5 things that you can never, non-negotiable things that you can never tolerate, you can never cope with, you can't look past, you can't live with, that your partner absolutely cannot and should not do? And you know, especially we women, after you've set these ground rules, after you've decided what these deal breakers are for you in your relationship, communicate this from the get-go to your partner. Don't leave anything to chance. Don't, you know, avoid having these deep-seated, serious conversations thinking that, oh, it's so uncomfortable, oh, let's just leave it and just see how things go. No, right from the get-go. If you've decided that this is somebody that you want to explore serious, committed, long-term relationship with, to see if this is going to be a goer, you better let that person know the rules of engagement. I've listed mine. I hope you have yours too. And, you know, women, one thing that I want to say to you is that once those rules of engagement are set, make sure that you do what you say and you say what you do. So if you know that a man laying their hands on you is something that you absolutely can't deal with, you communicate that to this fella, and he still disrespects you, he still pushes those boundaries and thinks that he can do what he likes in the relationship, when you've told him point blank that hitting me or touching me with your hands in that violent manner is going to end our relationship, then do what you say. If that guy disrespects you and goes ahead to hit you, it's time to say, I warned you. I told you if you ever laid a finger at me, I am gone. So thank you very much that my relationship to you meant nothing to you and I'm gone. If cheating is a deal breaker for you and your man disrespects you enough to go stick it where the sun don't shine, or go having phone sex with other women and you find out, be gone. But a lot of what we women do is to give second, third, 50th, 100th, 2,000 chances to a man. He cheats on you, and even though you told him in the deal breaker and the rules of engagement manual, that if you ever did that, I'll be gone. Now you, the same person, is making excuses. Oh, you know, to err is human and to forgive is divine. Oh, this was a mistake. Maybe he'll change. Ladies, let me tell you something. If a guy's going to cheat on you, he's going to cheat on you. And that ain't no mistake. The cheating didn't start just yesterday. He started chatting up to this woman when he knew full well that he was in a committed relationship with you. He talked. And now the conversation got personal and he started looking at somebody else's private part and eventually pulled his pants down. So if he could not stop himself at any point in that process and went all the way, I'm sorry, but this ain't no mistake. He thought about it, he conceived it, he preconceived it, and he carried out his actions to the letter because he has no regard for what you said. And for some men, they just try to push that boundary to see what it is that you're going to do. And this goes for the women to the men too. He says, the only thing that I can't tolerate is a woman who cheats. Okay, if I cheat on him, what's he going to do? And so if you make excuses and you don't keep to the terms of the rules of engagement and start making excuses for the spouse that disrespected you and your relationship, then what happens is that as time goes on, you ain't got no teeth, because he begins to think, or she begins to think, that you can't live without him or her. He has the power. So of course he's going to ride all over you and carry on with his dysfunctional behavior with impunity and rub it in your face. Because you know what? You have no bones to stand your ground. Rules of engagement. Everything under the surface of this planet that is of any worth or value or worth having must have a manual. I have a manual. I might not be the prettiest girl in the world, but I certainly ain't the ugliest. And even if I am, I don't care. These are my rules of engagement. If you want to tango with me, you are adhering to the rules of engagement. And if you can't, goodbye. Better luck next time. And don't you ever dare coming back neither. Those are my rules of engagement. Everybody under the surface of the sun has to have their deal breakers. Isn't it funny how we women give second and third and fifth and 50th chances to men, but a guy would tell you, I can't cope with a woman who cheats on me. And so for the few men that have had some of our sisters cheat on them the one time, they're spitting blood. They're ready to kill for it. And yet, our brothers do it with impunity and complete disregard and expect you to forgive them, because I bet there's water running through the ladies' veins, but they've got blood. They've got feelings. They are the only ones that are allowed to have their feelings hurt. Ladies, set your ground rules. State the rules of engagement clearly from the very beginning. And once you state them, make sure that you intend to keep them. And if the guy doesn't value you enough, doesn't respect you enough, doesn't regard your relationship with him enough, and he decides to take that risk to go stick it somewhere else and you find out, be gone. Be gone, so that the man would realize the consequences of his actions. You know, a lot of us in this world don't like to be held accountable for anything. And so for the people who hate accountability, this video is not for you. Because I know there are going to be a lot of people that come up to me and say, oh, you know, but there must be a place for forgiveness. Must there? Must there? You know, if you stand in the way of a running train, coming at high speed, we all know what's going to happen. You're going to end up sprayed all over the bloody train, not moving anymore. We all know that. If you jump a height without no parachute, we all know. If you touch the ground, your bones, everything inside of you is going to be scattered into a gazillion pieces. Actions have consequences. Deal breaking has consequences. And so when the consequences come, and you know that your dysfunction, your disrespect, and your actions or inactions has resulted in you losing something valuable, maybe that is what it's going to take to teach you the lesson that when some people say they have rules of engagement, they actually are dead serious about them and meant to keep them. And just maybe when somebody next time tells you these are my rules of engagement, you might pay better attention and be willing to listen. Both guys and ladies, you know that there are certain things that you just cannot tolerate, you can't cope with, you can't live with. And this has nothing to do with forgiveness and everything to do with valuing yourself and knowing what it is that you can cope with. There's some women who don't mind having partners that cheat on them. Good luck to you. But for me, I know that I could never cope with a man who cheated on me. It will be difficult to trust you again. I will question your every move and action. There will just not be any excitement, any happiness in that relationship no more. It's done its job. It's time to move on. So there's just no point. We all have what we can and can't take. But know what your rules of engagement are. Know what the deal breaker is for you and make that absolutely clear to the other person from the get-go so they know this is the line. This is the forbidden line that cannot be crossed if I want to keep this woman. Because once you do that, it is all clear and everybody knows where they stand. It is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. If you're really hell-bent on having a fulfilled, committed, successful, happy, loving, trusting, committed relationship. I'm too old to play dirty, silly mind games anymore. I know that a lot of people who watch me are people that are similar in age and level of maturity as me. So if at my age, I don't have time to deal with no BS anymore, then I think that anybody who wants to have their peace of mind, that wants to love and be loved, respected and respect, would only do the simple thing in this life, which is these are the terms and conditions, the rules of engagement. Abide by them. And if you can't, don't venture in the first place. You know, there is nothing like perfection in this life. I get that. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I am not expecting my partner to be perfect either. But even in imperfection, there are certain lines that you just simply don't cross. You might see an alligator. You might see a crocodile. You might be able to run your fingers down its back. But the line that you cannot cross is to stick your finger in its mouth and think that, oh, it's just going to lick my finger without biting it, because that's just plain stupid. Similarly, in a relationship where you're investing your mind, your body, your soul, your heart, your time, your energy, your effort, your money, that is too much of a hefty price to be paying for something where there cannot be any terms of conditions, because this is your very life you're gambling away. And so there must be rules of engagement, and every party that wants to be successful in this contract must adhere to rules of engagement. Be smart, be wise, and don't leave things till they're too late. Make your intentions plain and simple from the get-go and save yourself the heartache. And if you say you're going to do something, hell, do something. Don't threaten. Don't say something you know you're not going to be able to follow through, because then you weaken your hand on this table of negotiation. You weaken yourself, cheapen yourself, and leave the other partner thinking that he's the very air you breathe. She's the very air you breathe, and you can't live without him or her. Rules of engagement. If you love me, you'd abide by them. They're plain and simple. There's certain things that you just cannot do. There's certain lines that you can't cross. Rules of engagement. Let's all abide by them, and life will be just so much easier. My name is Sika Antonio of Sika Educates. Please follow my page if you find any of the things that I say inspiring, educational, motivational, and helpful. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sika Educates, as well. I love you all from the bottom of my heart, and I love to just see people thrive, succeed, and be happy in this life. Life can be so much simpler and so much happier if people will just do their needful. I love you guys. God bless you. Bye-bye. Rules of engagement. Abide by them.